Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPa here again, and much to my delight, Flechette Storm is officially back in Destiny 2, and as fun as I can remember it ever being. It might not go infinite like we saw previously when it was broken, but now it is a lot stronger in my opinion with the right setup, and I think it is very viable across all kinds of different content in Destiny 2 right now. So really excited to share with this. Not going to be a full build necessarily, just a general guide to making this, because I don't think you can go wrong with a lot of different options, but there are some things that are essential in order to make this work as well as possible. First off, you definitely need to pop on Wishful Ignorance. This is the Titan exotic gauntlets that has the armor perk Wish Dragon's Talons. Gain an additional Frenzied Blade charge, Frenzied Blade, and Flechette Storm. Briefly increase their damage with each strike. Pulses from your Banner of War return melee energy based on the number of allies healed. So in group content, this is especially strong as you are healing allies while you are using this. You are getting additional pulses, especially with some of the different things we have going on this season specifically, and it is a favored weapon as well, or favored exotic as well, which is huge. But yeah, it just is really strong. That is absolutely must, and I think it's phenomenal. Then you also obviously need the Banner of War and Flechette Storm aspects on Strand. So this doesn't work with something like Prismatic, so that kind of would knock it down a little bit in some cases, but I believe this is so strong that it does not matter. I've been using Grapple because that essentially gives you another melee when you hit at the end of your grapple, so it does help with Banner of War as well. The Super is the only one available for Strand, also very good. Now the fragments I'm using are Thread of Fury. This is really good. Damaging targets with Tango grants melee energy to get that melee energy back as quickly as possible. Thread of Warning for Woven Mail, which is very nice. Transmutation, so when you have Woven Mail, Weapon Final Blows create a Tangle. This is again very nice to create that loop of Woven Mail and Tangles. And then finally we've got Powered Thread of Propagation, where powered melee final blows grant your Strand weapons unraveling rounds. Now that last one is not really necessary, because if you're not running a Strand weapon, then you can swap that out for another option that does equally nice stuff potentially. So there's a lot of very good fragments that you can use instead of that if you want to do something else. So you can use Thread of Wisdom if you want to lean into suspending targets, especially with one of the artifact artifact perks that we have this season. That is very nice. You could toss on Thread of Binding or something like that as well. There are so many different options that you can go with that you can't really go wrong. I know a lot of people like Thread of Continuity as well, so whatever you're kind of vibing with, that's what I would recommend. As far as weapons go, a lot of variety this season. You could toss on something like Barrow Dyad, which is doing a lot of really interesting things this season. Then you've also got the brand new shotgun hand cannons. I think are tremendous with this. Now, there's one for Trials. There's also one this week that you have to get right away for Arms Week, and that's a Phonutria Farah, if that's how you say it. But this one can roll with some things like 1-2 punch, so hitting an enemy with every pellet in a shot increases melee damage for short duration. So if you can hit an enemy with that, again, it requires you to hit all of your pellets, but it does lead to you really doing some extra damage there, which is always very nice with your melee. You can also have on that proximity power on that hand cannon, so when targets are nearby, final blows grant bonus melee stat. So that's also very nice, as you might expect, and I do feel like it is a great weapon type to have. It does a lot of damage up close. It almost feels like you are running another special at times, but you lack a bit of that range. So maybe in your kinetic slot, you might want to toss on something that has a little bit longer range. I've used some things like No Land Beyond, for example, to great effect, but whatever you might be favoring there, it definitely will work just fine. Then we've got your heavy slot. You are absolutely going to want to have a sword in this slot. Banner of War works really well with swords. Obviously, you're going to trigger it with swords. You're going to get extra damage. That's where it's nice. If you're in an activity where swords are not really all that useful, then that might kind of change things just a little bit. But overall, definitely something that you're going to want to have in that slot for the majority of time. Now, going on to the artifact perks that you really want to focus on, you can essentially run anything in the first slot depending on what type of champions you're tackling, but from there you will want to run the flame fiber and freeze. This is so that way if you are running, for example, a solar weapon, you have the solar and strand mods all together, so it makes it much cheaper. But tightly woven is where things start to get really good for this build. While Woven Mail is active, gain increased class ability and grenade stats. Very nice for that extra grenade, for that grapple melee for sure. Then we've got the Elemental Benevolence, so granting allies an elemental buff gives class ability energy. Again, that one's not too insane, but it is very nice to have when you are running in a group. But if you're running solo, you might want to use Fever and Chill instead. So if you are using a solar weapon, you will, once you get rapid precision hits, you will get Radiant there, which is also very nice. But also Refresh Threads is a good one, picking up an elemental pickup, or Tangle while you have Strand. Super grants energy to your least charged ability. This is very nice. One of the reasons you want to have your class ability charged and get it charged very quickly is because of this. You're going to want to make sure that your melee is the least charged as often as possible. Threaded Blast. This is where it starts to get very fun. Destroying a tangle with strand damage increases the radius of the explosion and its damage. So this is why I recommend running the strand weapon in the kinetic slot, or you can run a heavy weapon that does have strand as well. Either one of those will work just fine. You could also run Cauterized Darkness if you want, but I was running Elemental Daze for champions when I have those in my activity, and then Elemental Coalescence, so defeating targets has a chance to create an elemental pickup matching your equipped super element. This is going to be the tangles for your strand abilities there. Then we get to Tangled Web. So creating a tangle by defeating strand debuff targets suspends nearby combatants. So almost accidentally, this build becomes a tangle suspend build at times because of how many tangles you are creating, how you're able to essentially chain those and do extra damage with them. It is very fun. And then you can also run a Shield Crush if you want to really focus on your melee. While you have Woven Mail, your melee recharges faster and deals increased damage. Increased damage is why this is so important. You can also, if you are running solar and getting precision hits and have Fever and Chill on, you can also toss benefit from that, because while you are radiant, your grenade charges faster and deals increased damage as well. That's just a nice combo that you'll have there. You can run Elemental Overdrive, so picking up a Tangle grants increased damage to weapons of the same element, but again, I'm not doing enough damage with my strand weapon. I really want to focus on melee. That's why I'm not using that, and I do think the suspending targets near the tangle is just a better option in most cases. And yeah, this one is very fun. You can kind of mix your armor mods as you so choose, making sure you have lots of strand stuff on there if that's going to benefit you. But overall, highly recommend trying this out if you are a fan of Flechette Storm at all. It has been incredibly successful for me in all sorts of different types of content, and I absolutely love it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like the video as always, comment, subscribe. Have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.